We are at the Kentucky Dental Association with the past president
Yes.
of the Kentucky Dental Association, Dr.
Yes.
Ansley H. Depp, no relation to Johnny Depp. She's a DMD, FAGD. She was born in Lakeland, Florida, and developed a surprising interest in dentistry at the age of 5. Her delight in driving 2 hours to Jacksonville every 6 months for her checkups led to a lifelong interest in helping people achieve healthy smiles, beautiful smiles. As a preacher's kid, she moved around as a child, eventually landing in Owensboro, Kentucky, where she spent most of her youth. She attended undergrad at Georgetown College, where she met her future husband, Rob. She attended the University of Louisville School of Dentistry, which is right here in this town. She graduated in the top 10% of her class in '93. Her early commitment to dental health came to life in her founding at the Delta Dental Oral Cancer Screening Program at the Kentucky State Fair, which currently screens thousands of fair-goers for this serious disease. This program has been in existence for 25 years now and is a legacy she is very proud of. She continued her education with a general practice residency at the University of Kentucky Medical Center, where she cared for emergency and indigent patients across central and eastern Kentucky. Dr. Depp moved to northern Kentucky in '94 to join a practice as an associate dentist, where she developed an affinity for the Greater Cincinnati area. She started her own practice in 2001 to provide her patients with the dual benefit of general dentistry for healthy smiles, as well as aesthetic dentistry to provide cutting-edge smile design. She's active in the state dental organization, serving as president of the Kentucky Dental Association, a past president of the Northern Kentucky Dental Association, and member of the Kentucky Dental Association Executive Board. She's also a member of the AGD, has achieved her Fellow Accreditation in 2007. She is currently working on her Masters Accreditation with the AGD. I could go on and on and on and on. And on. I mean, it goes forever. In 2017, she was inducted into the American College of Dentists. It is the oldest major honorary organization for dentists. Its members have exemplified excellence through outstanding leadership. So you're the daughter of a preacher's.
Yes.
PK.
PK.
And what does PK mean? Preacher's kid?
kid.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So all those jokes about the preacher's daughter.
True.
All true.
Oh, so true. Wild. You know, I just like to exemplify whatever label is put on me. So.
Yeah.
No, but I find they're kind of true. I had my wild times. I had my, you feel a little restricted. You feel you have to stand up to a certain image. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that restriction. But I found my way to college and found my way to dental school and thrived in dental school.
So why do you think at age 5 you were interested in dentistry?
Oh.
Where does that come from?
Well, when I was a little girl, I think at about age 3, I fell. And I don't think this story is so much different than what a lot of other people will tell. But, I fell, we lived in a small town in Florida. When I fell, my parents took me to the local dentist in the town, and he said, I don't treat kids, but there is a guy in Jacksonville, Florida, that is a pediatric dentist and treats children. So my parents took me there, and this is in, I guess, 72, 71. And I loved the experience. I thought it was amazing. And I remember distinctly at age 5, running into my parents' bedroom, jumping up and down and saying, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I want to go to the dentist. It's the day to go to the dentist. And I remember my parents looking at each other and saying, who likes to go to the dentist? Who likes to go? I remember that. And, I wanted to be a dentist since I was 5. So.
Wow. So your website is dentalblue.com, and the blue, BLU, stands for Beautiful, Lifelong, Unique Smiles.
Yes.
And you're in Highland Heights, Kentucky. Where's Highland Heights?
We're about 5 miles south of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Northern Kentucky University, which has been in the tournament, the NCAA tournament, the last couple years, is literally right next door to me.
And so would you say your focus is cosmetic dentistry?
No, I mean, maybe before the recession, but I'm, if anything, always adaptable and constantly looking at change. And so when the recession came, I realized luckily I had done a general practice residency, and I had been working on my fellow and my masters, and I had a lot of techniques in my pocket. And so we are a general practice. We see a lot of families. We do a lot of general dentistry. The one thing we don't do yet is place implants, but other than that, we do a lot. Ortho, endo, extractions, dentures,
So
everything.
you're kind of on halfway between Louisville and Cleveland, or Columbus. This is you right here, Alexandria Pike.
Let's see. No. Well, no. I should be closer to Cincinnati.
Okay. Oh, there.
Yeah.
Okay, there's Cincinnati.
Right
What the heck was I
outside of
looking?
Cincinnati.
Oh, I was looking at Cleveland.
We're literally
Okay.
on the Ohio River.
Wow, which is right about 100 feet from where we're sitting
Right.
right now. That is a monster river.
Yeah, it is.
So, so you said when the recession hit. So you've seen when economic times are good, there was a lot more cosmetic dentistry,
Yeah.
and when the economic times, talk about that.
I feel like
When-
it's starting to come back, though. And that's only happened in the last 2 to 3 years. But I think going through the recession for me was all about maximizing what you had. And, I feel confident that if something like that happened again, I still have the skills to at least keep my practice going.
Well, what year did you graduate from dental school?
1993.
93.
Mhm.
Okay, I was 87, and
Oh, wow. Not
so
far.
it's so these kids coming out, they have to realize that there's booms and busts.
Mm-hmm.
Like I graduated from high school in 1980. That was the biggest bust I ever saw.
Right.
Do you remember that one?
No, I do. The high interest rates.
Oh, it's 21%
Right.
interest rates.
Right.
Double-digit unemployment inflation. I had 3 friends who in Kansas whose dad lost the family farm
Wow.
and went in the farm and blew their head off.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
Yeah, that was the worst I'd seen. Then 87 was Black Monday, October.
Yes. Mhm.
And then March of 2000, the internet bubble popped.
Right.
And then 2009, Lehman's popped.
Right.
So what would you say to these young kids that how dentistry is different in good times versus bad? And how have you prepared yourself for that?
Well, let me tell you first, I love talking to the students. It is a passion of mine. I have been a mentor for several students that have come through my office and then gone on to dental school. I am nothing if not direct with them about the field that they are getting into. And I mean, if you talk to somebody, a lot of people will use the word passion with me when they describe me, because I'm very passionate about whatever it is that I'm doing at that point in time. Whether it's being the president, whether it's being, whether it's the American Dental Association, whether it's my practice, whatever it is, I'm passionate. So when I sit down with these students and they tell me, pie in the sky, I'm going into dentistry because, you've made it look easy. I first tell them it's not easy, and you guys are going to take out way too many loans, and you're not going to care about them, and you're going to have a big loan payment, which is going to decide what you do in life. It's going to determine that. So first, that's the first thing I start with is get it together before you go into dental school. Have your credit in order. Think about every loan that you take out. Consider where you eat, what you bring in, what you drive, who you live with, because all of that's going to determine your future. And they can't see that, but I do talk to them about that. The second thing I tell them is to be diversified. And now in general dentistry, more than ever, I find that you need to know how to do different things. You need to know how to place an implant. You need to know how to do some endo. You need to understand some ortho concepts. You need to be diversified. And that was what saved me when I was during the recession. My accountant said, Ansley, if you're down 5%, other people are down 25%. And, 5% felt like a lot to me when you've been going up and going up and going up. So that, when I talk to them now, I encourage them to do a year postgraduate. I encourage them to do a GPR, learn how to do IV sedation, learn how to do something that differentiates you from the person across the street.
So the AGD, The Academy of General Dentistry, you have a fellowship in
Yes.
AGD. Mm-hmm. So do you think instead of it being AGD for Academy of General Dentistry, it should be Academy of General Diversification?
Yes, I think that's a great idea. I thrive on education, and that's pretty obvious. I probably would already have my master's if it wasn't for the fact that I got involved in organized dentistry, and I've kind of gone through that. And there's just not enough time to do everything I want to do and raise children at the same time. But
how many children do you have?
I have 2 boys.
And what are their ages?
So I have a 22-year-old that I'm super proud of. He is on almost a full scholarship to the University of Notre Dame Law School.
Nice.
Yeah, so he leaves Saturday.
And that's not that far away.
4 hours.
4 hours, okay.
And then I have a senior in high school that I'm actually traveling back tonight to watch play football.
You know, my mom's brother, her brother died after a Notre Dame football game. Came home drinking.
I'm not sure there could be a better place to die, honestly.
Came home drinking and passed out on the park bench and froze to death in the middle of the night.
Well, that's terrible.
But what a way to go.
At Notre Dame. I mean, I'm not sure that you could find a better way to go.
That's my most famous proud Uncle Mark story. My God, if you have a better uncle story than that,
I don't think I do. I don't think I do.
Post in the comments on YouTube. Do you feel? I have to ask you this question because you're a woman and I'm a man.
Yes.
Do you think when I got out of school in '87, dentistry was a man's profession, and now that the graduating class is half women, that it's no longer? Is that true that '87 was a man's profession? Now it's not.
I love this question because I love this question because when I went into dental school, I think maybe my class was about 30% women. There were definitely. I'm not going to lie. There were definitely moments during my class time where there was discrimination. I think I'm a strong person. I think I just kind of knew how to give it back, and it didn't put me down. It didn't put me down. But I loved the time I came out better than where we are today, because when I came out in '93, you're right, it was a man's profession. I was one of only 2 women in my county. And yet those guys accepted me. Those guys accepted me at the local dental society meeting, invited me to lunch. You know, yes, I was a woman, but I was still a colleague. And I feel now that, it's more diversified. There's more women, 50% women, over 50% women, but I don't feel the colleague part anymore. And I don't think that's a woman-man thing. Maybe that's the world we live in now, but that kind of makes me sad. So unusually, I kind of miss the good old days of just being a dentist and not a competitor.
So you feel that the colleagueness has turned more competitive?
Don't you?
That they've gone from colleagues to competitors?
Don't you?
I do notice that there's 2 types of dentists. Those that think in fear and scarcity, and those that think in hope, growth, and abundance. So
it's so funny that we're talking because I've been on Dental Town a long, long, long time, but I'm a stalker. So I go on.
What's your? Oh, I gotta find your. What is your?
I think it's Ann's Chick. ANZCHICK.
ANZ. ANZCHICK. Ann's Chick.
See if that's what it is.
And what's the ANZ?
That's my nickname.
Ann's.
Did it come up?
No.
All right, then look for me under Ansley Depp. It may be just Ansley Depp.
Huh. Okay, but anyway.
So I've been a stalker on Dental Town for a long time. I use it all the time. I found consultants off of it. I go in there and look and see what materials. I go and look and see what people are procedures that they're doing. I go and look at, is this a slow time? You know, commiserating, whatever. But I had never placed a comment ever. And then a few years ago, I think I was just at a crossroads in my practice, and I actually placed a comment, and it was a personal statement, like I am depressed, I don't like where my practice is, I don't, and the first response was, you've been on here 10 years and this is your first comment? And I was like, okay, all right. I kept going, I pushed, and got some really good responses from people on the thing. The next thing I've noticed is that now we've got Facebook groups that have popped up, and I'm on several of them. And, they'll come up and I get drug into them, even though I try not to, because I want to leave work at work. I don't want to be there all day long. And the same thing happens there. You post something and somebody jumps on you. And, why did you post that? Or why are we at that place in dentistry? Why aren't we at a place where it's support and lifting a dentist up, as opposed to, well, you shouldn't be taking insurance. You're the person dragging everybody else down. So that's my thing. When I came out, maybe it is the insurance thing, maybe it's the corporate thing, but I feel like nowadays that it's corporate against non-corporate, part-time against full-time, girl against guy, implant person against non-implant person, insurance against non-insurance,
Specialist against general dentist.
Do you feel that way? I mean, I feel when I go on these blocks, that's the way it looks to me.
Yeah.
And I miss the days when somebody would reach out, have lunch, and I've tried to do that to some of the younger guys who've come out, guys and girls, young people, I mean, when I say guys, just to kind of encourage them.
Yeah. What advice would, so we talked about when the kids come out of school that they live beyond their means. Like there's 2 dental schools in Arizona. I mean, when you go to the parking lot of that dental school, it's nicer cars. It's kind of like the only thing I can compare it to is if you go to the elementary schools.
Yes.
They're all poor cars.
Right.
Then you go to the
middle school,
the Arizona school district, the management,
right.
The people who don't have students. Mm-hmm. It's all nice big cars. But you go look at those schools, and then they say things like they post on Dentaltown. For spring break we did a Caribbean cruise, and it's like, you flew in an airplane and took a cruise on student loans?
You had your own room?
I mean, it is just, and then what blows my mind is they'll come out of the dental schools rather than Phoenix. There's 2 in Phoenix, one in Mesa, one in Glendale.
Wow.
And they'll come out of school.
I didn't know that.
500,000. Yeah, when I got to Phoenix, Arizona, there was no fluoride in the water and no dental schools.
No dental schools. I know.
Now there's fluoride in the water and 2 dental schools.
I didn't know that.
And they just passed the law. Arizona is now the first state in the union to honor any other state license. So
wow.
If you have a state license, which I'm all for.
I mean, that's great.
But how many dentists are going to come out? But the point I was making is they come out of school, $500,000 in debt. And I'm like, dude, I know your dad.
Right.
He's a dentist.
Right.
Go home and live with your mom and dad,
right.
and pay off these student loans. Oh no! And then you find out 2 years later that they bought a $400,000 house.
Right. Yes.
And so, how do you get what? And when I talk to anybody in personal finance, they say that physicians, dentists, and lawyers always live above their means. Do you believe that, or agree with that, or disagree?
No, I do, and I told you I'm very passionate about this, and I
like this diamond could have been so. Why didn't you get a 1/8 carat diamond?
Because I've been married 25 years. This is what you get when you're at 25. No, this was not my first one. This was my second.
Okay.
Yes. No, this really was. This was pay off everything, and once you paid off something, and you've been married 25 years, then you get something special. But that's what it was. I remember.
But they buy the house before they burn the house.
Oh, you would laugh at me. We talked today. I was talking to my staff yesterday. I said, what did I buy when I paid off my school loans? And they said, I think you bought an iPad. That was my reward, an iPad. I paid $300 for an iPad, and I was excited because I had paid off my school loans. I talk a lot about this. If somebody will listen to me, I actually had I have a presentation that I have given to the young dental students, and it's called "This Ain't Your Daddy's Dentistry No More." And it's talking about how things have changed. And And I talk to them about living within their means. Sometimes I get a few that will listen to me, and sometimes I don't. But I have an associate, and I spent a lot of time talking to her. She said, we want to build. I said, you still have $220,000 in loans. You want to buy into the practice. Let's start paying off those loans. Stay in this house that's completely paid for, pay them off, and in 7 years, you can do whatever you want to do with a free and clear conscience. Now, she's somewhat listening to what I said, but I have others. I had a young girl I mentored. She's in dental school. She started this year, and I was all over her. Get a roommate in dental school. Did she get a roommate? No, Kirsten did not get a roommate. She would be laughing at me right now. But I told her, I said, that's going to cost you $40,000 over 4 years to be by yourself.
I know. And it's the same thing with the Social Security. I mean, here's our country, $19 trillion in debt.
Yep.
And they still give cost of living adjustment raises to all the entitlements like Social Security and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Social Security, they all complain about how little they get, but they all live alone. They all drive their
That's true.
And when you look on the roads, like 98% of the cars have one person in it.
Mm-hmm.
So if everybody who's a senior citizen on Social Security just got one roommate, I mean,
that's true. I never even thought about that. But you're right. Why not?
But they want to do it. I want to talk about something else.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of kids want to pay back all their student loans without any blood. They want to do bleaching, bonding, Invisalign, veneers, a cosmetic dentist. And it seems like the money is made with blood and guts, extractions, endo, and implant. What would you say to someone who wants to be a successful dentist and not get any blood on them? I mean.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll say. I'll say, look at Smile Direct Club, look at whitening in spas. All the things that you don't want to touch and you don't want to get dirty in are the things that other people are touching and getting dirty in, are not getting dirty in. So we have to be what a spa can't be. We have to be what I hate to even use this word. We have to be what a dental therapist can't be. We have to be, and that's why I've done this forever. You have to be diversified. You have to have things in your pocket that maybe the person next door doesn't have. And that's not a competitive thing on me. For me, that's living. That is staying alive.
And that's what the AGD did for me.
Yeah, I agree. Me too.
When I earned my fellowship, and it was, I remember arguing with the guy in charge of the AGD in Arizona. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not going to do implants in ortho. I'm doing fillings and crowns. And I wanted him to waive that requirement.
That part.
Yeah, that part where I had to learn this stupid ortho and implants. But so finally I got so upset that I found out that how I could knock out my whole implant deal. There's this guy, you probably never heard of, Carl Misch, who had this 7 3-day weekend course.
Right.
So I signed up for this course that I didn't know anything about. And I was so mad.
Knock it out?
Yeah, because Arizona at that time didn't have dental schools. It didn't have any of those fast track programs. Yeah. So I had to fly. So I'm like, damn it, I got to fly to Pittsburgh for 3 days, once a month for 7 months because you won't let me out of this. Mm-hmm. And he says, Howard, you got it. Nah. And then I fell in love with it.
And then you took off, right?
So what would you say to someone who says, I don't like blood and guts? I mean, how did you go into dental school?
Yeah, why go to dental school?
I mean,
you should have dermatology.
You should have gone into electrical. But there it seems to be a growing plague in dentistry.
I hate to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, how are they going to be successful?
So here's another problem. So they come out of school, they got all the student loans.
Yeah.
Insurance pays 80% of our molar root canal.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't have to sell a molar root canal. They didn't.
They
sleep
have to
last
have
night.
that, right?
And half the millennials that got out of dental school say, I don't like molar endo.
They won't do them, huh?
So what do you say to someone who's $284,000? They're not good at selling dentistry, but when a person comes in and begs at them a toothache, half of them say, I don't like molar endo.
And they send them to a specialist that takes 2 weeks to get into. So you've not made the patient happy at that point either. So in my opinion, it's all about the patient. So I'm about getting my patient out of pain, and I'm about, I can't do everything. I'm not an everything person. I've got to know where my limits are. But if I can help my patient, which is what I went into the career for, then I'm going to help my patient. And so for me, that was learning the techniques. When my associate came out, she said, I don't like doing molar endo. And I said, well, you need to learn how to do it. And she said, no, I don't. And I said, you're going to find out you do. Because if you want to treat your patient and you want them to continue being your patient, you should learn how to do molar endo. And she did.
Well, I mean, I just think of how many things did our ancestors do? I mean, we're alive today because of the future generation went before us.
Right.
How many of those future generations had to do stuff they didn't like for us to be alive today?
Well, I think that would be called World War II and Vietnam, and
or go back 100,000 years, living in a cave
yes.
all winter.
I mean, survival of the fittest, right?
Yeah.
And you asked that question earlier. That was kind of how I survived the recession. I actually had a really interesting thing happen during the recession. The school that's next door to me, NKU, had a large international population come over. And we started seeing one patient. And I'm going to tell you this, and you're not going to believe it. They had a $5,000 dental benefit that paid 100% with zero restrictions on it. $5,000. This is how I got out of the recession. So I started seeing one, treating them well, seeing another, treating that one well, and it went on and on and on until we had hundreds of those patients in our practice. And I had to bring in an associate for this. I mean, it was, but those patients, I don't want to get into like a nationality or anything like that, but those patients only wanted their wives to see women dentists. They had very specific things, and we were able to do the things that they needed to have done. And they had trouble going to an oral surgeon that was a man because they didn't want their wives to be alone with a man. So
that was a Middle Eastern.
Middle Eastern.
Is that Arabic or Islam? Is that more religion, or is that Arabic or Islam?
I thought it was Islam, but
it's the religion.
Yeah.
I would just think that dentistry's biggest rap is half of the country is afraid of the dentist.
Right.
And raising 4 boys myself, I was daddy. It was all great until they fell down and got an owie. And then they'd run like around me to go to mom. Mm-hmm. And I would just think, if the whole world is afraid of the dentist, wouldn't a woman dentist have an advantage in marketing?
Maybe.
And I want to ask you this, Rap, because I always see this on Dental Town where they'll say, okay, I'm a woman graduate. I became an associate at the old man for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually bought his practice. And now that I am in charge, they treat me differently than the old man. Mm-hmm. And then they say things like, he would say, do this, and they'd all jump. And then she would say, do this, and they'd all talk back. And I'd say, to me, it looked like, man, they were afraid of him. Mm-hmm. And they feel like they can communicate to you. I would think patients would be more likely to communicate with a woman dentist as a man.
They are.
Staff. So so let me just start with there. Is it an advantage in marketing? Your associate is a female. Are you trying to be an all-woman dental office because that's a marketing advantage for Dental Blue?
Yes. I'm not against hiring a guy for an assistant or anything like that, but it did kind of happen that way. I did not try and be that.
Is that what the lawyers told you to say?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this the deposition now?
Yeah. But I do think there is an advantage. I mean, my patients will tell you, I get involved with them. I get involved in their lives. I get behind because I'm talking. I am chatting with people. I love my people. And I'm sure there is a delicateness maybe to a girl compared to a guy. And I do think women have trouble selling because I think they do feel maternal and they want to fix things for free. There was something that came out from the ADA that said that women make less than the male dentist when everything is compared, hours, everything. And I was with the past president and we were discussing that, and he thought, why is that, Ansley? Why is that? And I said, well, maybe it's a part-time thing. No, it's not the part-time thing. I think it's the selling. I think it's that I sit there and go, oh, don't charge them that because I feel bad. So I do think there's some advantages and disadvantages.
Well, how are you guys doing? I think, I would.
Do you agree?
Absolutely. If my air conditioner broke down and a man came out and said, "Oh, we can't fix it, you need a new one," my first thought would be, "No, you're trying to sell me a new air conditioner."
Right.
But if a woman said it, I absolutely would believe it more.
I know.
I
think that's an interesting phenomenon. I thought that study was really, and it's made me reevaluate how I talk to patients.
Can you email me that study?
Sure, I can find it.
Post it on Dental Town, and then I'll post this podcast.
Okay. There was actually an article that just came out about 2 months ago that was saying exactly what I just said, and that they think the difference is the compassion of the woman, but it backfires in this instance. And even I find it in just even telling people what's wrong sometimes. Like, would a male cancer doctor be as good as a female cancer doctor? I don't know.
I have very, very strong biases against men. I mean, I think. Well, they are. I mean, like when people say, "Oh, more people have died in the name of religion," it's like, dude, have you ever gone to Wikipedia? I mean, male leaders have killed like 96 people for every 6 that have been killed in a religious war. I mean, males are aggressive, they're violent, and we in dentistry we sell the invisible. Like I know when I'm buying an iPhone or a coffee or a candy bar, but when you tell me I have 4 cavities, I have to. You're selling the invisible. And so I'd be more likely to believe you. Yeah. And in fact, when I see a man with a tie on, when I see a man with a tie on, I cover my wallet.
So you feel like you feel like we would have the advantage?
Absolutely. And every woman in Phoenix who was a woman dentist to get an associate, I'd say, it's going to be a girl, right? And they go, you think that's important? Okay, they're afraid of the dentist. I have 2 ladies.
Right.
They don't trust men.
Right.
You're not a man. And I don't know. My child, I assume, would be better. I mean, would you be all excited if your 5-year-old goes to school, kindergarten, and you're all excited and you find out that
it's a male
the
teacher?
Teacher's John?
I get it. Well, that's an interesting way of looking at it, because I've always kind of thought that.
And I grew up with 5 sisters.
But we're not as good as selling, I don't think. I just think that but I will say that I think that is one of the things that dentists need to work on. And I don't mean selling in a bad sense, because people have this version of us selling. I mean, just telling the patient what needs to be done sometimes is selling, like you said, the invisible. And sometimes I think.
Okay, she just got out of school. She's got $284,000 student loans.
Yeah.
She wants to learn things that will sell in her marketplace so she can pay back her bills.
Right.
What areas would you say go learn more about? Because you do everything. I mean, God, you do Botox, you do veneers, whitening, you do implants, you do all these different things. What is more likely? Because sometimes they'll go spend $3,000 a weekend on an occlusion course at the Pankey Institute or the Nash or Dawson.
So we sit down once a month and we have a meeting, she and I do, and we discuss this, because I told her, I said, you need to have your thing. You need to find your thing and you need to grow with it, because you're young, you got a lot more dentistry to do. So what's your thing want to be? And, if you say cosmetic dentistry, I say, okay, you and everybody else. So what's your thing going to be? And so she and I discussed it, and she chose IV sedation, which I think that's a good, legitimate thing, because not only does that help her with the scared part, she's a female, but it can also help her with higher price things. So she can take that, she can learn to do implants, she could learn to do more difficult extraction, she could do a full mouth case like she did yesterday. So, I said, go do it. And we found a course. She went, she did it, and she's taken off. So before she did that IV sedation course.
Which course was it?
She took Dr. Becker's course up in Dayton, Ohio.
Dr. Becker.
Do you know Dr. Becker?
Yes.
Woo. I'm sorry if Dr. Becker's listening. He's tough. I actually went back and retook my IV sedation this year and just finished, just graduated with him because I thought it would be a safer office if both of us were trained in it. And so we both have it. And, I think that's just a start for her because if she can do that, she can learn to place implants. She can go, she can do whatever she wants to do from that. And so that, I think that's very important. And I'm not saying IV sedation for everybody. I'm just saying find your place. Make your place.
And what's Becker in Ohio, you said?
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. What's his first name?
Dan.
Dan the Man Becker?
Yeah. It's actually hard to find this course. It's
Dr. Daniel E. Becker.
Yeah, he doesn't take a lot of students. I think he starts out with maybe 20 students, and by the time we got to our hands-on, we were down to I think 12 or 10. So but it's the emergency medicine that he teaches in this course is second to none.
So you recommend that they go find their thing?
I think they should find their thing,
and
especially if they're young.
And you're doing you're doing Botox too?
I do Botox. I do fillers. I use it for TMD. I use it for I've done full mouth reconstructions. I've learned I've done the cosmetic thing. I'm friends with David Hornbrook. Went through his courses. I have a friend in Phoenix who's one of my classmates, Mike Smith. Do you know Mike Smith?
Mike Smith.
Biting Edge Dentistry.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
He is one of my dear friends. He helps me out with things. So, but then I've even myself have, tried to branch out and do different things. And I'm 51 now, and I'm like, what's my next thing going to be? I don't know.
How come you could say that? It seems like almost everyone. Oh, Mike Smith.
You've got to know him.
Well, there's you won't believe this, but a name like Mike Smith.
That's true. We have two in my class.
Yeah, there's there's 250,000 townies, and some of those names there's like. It's true. If you don't have a middle, so when you're Mike Smith, you gotta add your middle initial.
That's true.
And he teaches with
Oh yes, what does he teach with? I forgot. Leanne, Brady, and what is it called?
It's Pete Janicki.
There's a bunch of people I know in there, but yeah. He teaches with a good group.
But
I haven't taken
some of this stuff like a lot of times they'll come out of school and they'll say I want to learn TMJ, and I'm like, well, is TMJ gonna be like, or Botox gonna be like 1% of your revenue?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it, what's gonna be?
No, it's not your thing. It's not my thing.
It seems like practice management people tell me that if an office isn't doing 2 root canals a week, they're not doing it. They're not really in the profit. If they're not doing 2 root canals and 2 extractions a week, they're not in the profit zone. But then the dentist will go spend $3,000 a weekend on something that's 1% of his practice revenue.
Yeah, I try and really think about that now compared to I think when I was younger. Is this really going to help me, and am I going to get something out of it? Because I don't know. Maybe it's the age I am, and you start thinking about like retirement and things. But I just don't want to throw money away anymore.
Why were you so comfortable saying you're 51? It seems like almost all women I know that they'll never tell their age, even if you ask them.
I don't care. Don't care.
But where does that come from? Why do you not care? You're the only woman I know.
Really?
I can't think of another woman.
Because I guess I'm proud of how far I've come, and I don't know. I also think I coming back to what I said earlier, I love identifying with a little bit older group. I feel a camaraderie with them, and so I don't care. But on the other hand, I don't mind talking with the kids, but I want them to know that I'm older than them because I guess I'm more motherly at that point. So
Dental Town, we've made 400 1-hour courses.
Yes.
And they've been viewed almost 1 million times.
That's amazing.
Because it's a lot of money to fly to a course.
True.
But it's $18 for a course on Dental Town.
That's cool.
I
didn't know that.
I wish you would. You said you have lectures. I wish you would make us a course.
Okay.
Because you know what one of the biggest complaints are on our magazine and our online CE course?
No.
Guess what the number 1 complaint is?
No.
I'm half the class of graduating is female.
Yes.
And all your courses are by men.
Huh.
And
what do you want me to talk about?
What you're most passionate about? And I've told my staff, I said we have to have more podcasts and articles and cover like this month. Who's on the cover of Dental Town?
I don't know.
Scott Bridges.
Oh, really?
Another white male.
I think there's a reason for that. I mean, I didn't even get into doing my organized dentistry until my kids were old enough. I mean, I wanted to be involved, but mothers are, I mean, this comes back to that thing. We're trying to balance two things.
And you got to run.
I do.
You got to run.
I got to host a luncheon.
But let me. That's a good thing to end on. Is a lot of them come out of school and I say, the reason your mom and dad cried at your dental school graduation is because it was a sacred, sovereign profession. Mm-hmm. And then they come out of school and say, well, I don't want to be a member of the ADA because I got student loans and I don't want to pay my dues. Mm-hmm. It's like, so the next generation, they're going to be clerks. They're going to be dental technicians at Walgreens. I mean, so what do you say to the young kids who say, I don't want to join organized dentistry, or they find something they don't like about it. And I'm like, let me find 5 things that you don't like about your own parents. Mm-hmm. I mean, were your parents perfect?
No, God, no. God, no. No, and you know what I say?
The only perfect thing my parents ever did was have me.
This is what I tell people. I'm like, okay, then let's not join. And okay, let's look around and find a comparable organization to us in medicine. Okay, the AMA. What's the percentage of doctors that are AMA members? What, 15, 20%? What's happened to medicine? Why did you go to dental school? Did you go to dental school because you watched what happened to medicine and you thought, I don't want those hours and I don't want working for a hospital? Oh, you went into dentistry for some autonomy. You went into dentistry for the money and the better hours. Who do you think created that for you? Do you think it was you? Because it wasn't you. It was those guys that came before you that fought to keep dentistry where it is right now. And if you don't believe that, go to Washington, D.C. sometime and watch the lobbyists for the ADA. It's amazing. And I'm telling you right now, I wish. Some people say, oh, we should boycott insurance and we should do that. Great, but we can't because we're not allowed to in this country. That's where we are. But we have one place that can help us do something, and that's ADA. That's it. What else is that big? What else? So it's not perfect. It's not. It really isn't perfect. And some people are like, well, the AGD, this. Okay, nobody else has that big of a voice. Nobody else. And if you're going to stand over here as an outlier and think that you're going to have as loud a voice as the ADA is, you're not.
I was surprised at all the pushback on Mark Wahlberg speaking.
I know.
I mean, it's like, wow, I didn't know Mark had that. Because it's a great question for you because you're a preacher's daughter. I mean, the guy was very bad as an adolescent, and he admits it, and he's public, and he tried to turn his life around. And
isn't that what we celebrate?
Isn't it about forgiveness and try to be a better person?
I thought that's what we celebrated. I thought it used to be that we wanted to hear the story of somebody turning their life around. And now, instead of celebrating somebody turning their life around, now we're putting them down for something 20, 30 years in their past. So it's become a place where we can't move past something. I don't. But that's.
I mean, it's weird. So what are you saying then? So if I do something bad, I'm not to apologize, reform, admit it, and go out and try to do all these things to atonement because then you'll know I did something bad and then.
But you and I don't understand because it's a very politically correct world and. We can't really get it because we're not in that.
The only thing I don't like about Mark speaking, I'll be honest with you, is when they put his picture up there that he was speaking, everybody thought I was speaking. And it's like, that is not me.
I think you would love that.
But yeah, hate the sin, love the sinner. I mean,
exactly.
Right? I mean,
that's the way it should be. It really should be. Yes.
What percent of all humans do you think have failed?
100.
Yeah. So
we're not God.
Very bizarre. But love your passion, love everything you do. I would love to have you do a course on dental time. I was so honored that you came by
You're
the
welcome.
show today.
I loved it.
Thanks again for all you do.
Thank you.
And anything you want to do with dental town, let me know.
Okay.
Because we need to have more women leaders.
I'll see what I can do.
More women leaders. And thanks for all you do. And good luck on your luncheon. Tell us about your luncheon. What do you have?
This is, since I'm the immediate past president, I'm in charge of our luncheon today. They're probably wondering where I am, but I'm just hosting it. So.
All right. Well,
Yes.
that's amazing. Congratulations on being a past president.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a great day. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.